Welcome to Insight Marketing Success, the podcast where marketing knowledge meets real-world experience, from vision to execution.
Good afternoon, Brad. Welcome to IMS, Insight Marketing Success.
Good afternoon, Ricardo. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you. Really appreciate you having us on.
Awesome. Listen, I had the opportunity to meet with you and learn about who you are, but for the audience who doesn't know much about you, tell us who you are.
Yeah, well, great. So my name is Brad Banyas, and my company's OMI. I've been an entrepreneur since my early 20s. Wasn't my first company, but OMI is dear to me. We started in '99 and kind of got started in what was at that time some exciting time, kind of like AI is today, but the SaaS business. Yeah. And so we built a SaaS platform, and the business has been good to us, and it's been a great journey. So
wonderful. So, and your education is from what? What education do you have? What school do you go to?
Oh, well, you asked the number one question. So I went to 6 schools, 6 colleges. So highly educated in that sense. So I spent some time at University of Georgia, University of Tennessee, Georgia Southern, Harvard, summer school. I was one of those young people that wasn't really sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I took classes in economics, law, business, and settled in the psychology area. So I actually was going to go into the FBI, and my wife told me, no, you're not, because they're going to pull you every 2 years and move you. And at that time, we had some young children. So I nixed that and then got into the software sales side. I had not planned on that. My father was a technical guy. He ran some technical companies. And, it was just a way, it was an exciting time. Software was, exploding at that time. And so it kind of, I picked my course, and it wasn't something that I studied for or had planned to do, but here I am, 34 plus years later in the same space that I started in. So,
but if you had your choice, could you have been like a FBI profiler type of person?
Yeah, so my in psychology, my specialty was abnormal psychology. So that's exactly what I planned on doing, actually tracking serial killers. So very odd thing, but that was before, everyone remembers Silence of the Lambs and that, but that was way before that. But I had a really good professor in psychology in one of my clinical classes, and he was an actually practicing clinical psychiatrist. And so the stories that he told us in class and when we were doing were just like, to me, it's like, oh, this is bizarre. Like, because you didn't get that depth in the real world, probably because people didn't want to talk about it. It was some really scary stuff. But I don't have any regrets. I was married young, and we had children early, and you got to go out and make a living. And I was pretty good at sales, and my father always said, hey, if you can be a salesman in life, you can do whatever you want. No one can tell you how much money you can make. As long as you believe in your product or your service, you can go anywhere. And I remember him saying that, and sales was such a great thing for me, because it really, it taught you all the back end on pricing and margins and the psychology side with people I already had. So I have no regrets.
Awesome.
He told me, he said, since I had bumped around a lot at many colleges, not really sure what I wanted to be when I grew up. I'm not sure I want to know what I want to be yet still when I grow up. But, he said, you're not employable. You need to go build your own business and get into something you like. And it was probably the best advice that anyone could ever give me. So it was awesome.
So what does OMI do exactly?
Yeah, so OMI stands for Outsource Management Inc. People started calling us OMI, obviously, for our logo. So OMI today, over the years, we still develop some of our own products, but for the most part, we kind of grown up in the software as a service business and what now is the cloud business. And from building products on our own, our first product was in the banking area, and learning, how to build a platform for the SaaS model and subscription model. We had a lot of experience in it, and a lot of our clients were asking us, how we did things. And so today we would be seen as kind of a consulting or professional services or integration company with some development capabilities. And so we took our knowledge from building SaaS platforms and then settled on what you would know today as the major platforms, right? And CRM would be, Salesforce, Microsoft, AWS, Google. And then, so we have a practice around any company, typically the mid-size business is our client base. Anyone that's kind of settled on these platforms and really trying to maximize their investments around business process, business workflow, integrating into third-party systems where they might need data in one single source. OMI today does that for any kind of client. We're not really vertical specific. We have customers in manufacturing, in finance, high tech, M&A space. So we're kind of generalist when we look across, these kind of cloud platforms.
Awesome. So tell us about a good marketing campaign that worked really, really well for you.
Yeah, you sent me those questions. I was trying to think back. I mean, I think we've had several of them. I think a lot of marketing campaigns ride the wave of what's going on in the market, like what's hot, right? So I would say early on, we had created kind of the first customer communication portal around banks for e-statements and notices, non-sufficient notices, and statement notices and things like that. So the big push way back when was going paperless, right? I mean, that's what the internet was promised to do, right? And so we ran some of these, kind of paperless type campaigns, and those were extremely effective just due to the newness of the internet, people moving away from, paper-based and the whole, tree side, plant a tree. Yeah, so I would say that was probably one of our most successful campaigns, but it was due to kind of what was going on in the market and technology at the time. And then I would say more recently, the AI space is, obviously exploding. You can't, open a news or read a paper or go on the internet anywhere and find something not related to AI. So some of our recent campaigns around our AI assessments and what we're doing in the AI space, I think is helped push some really good business for us. And we do that through a number of channels, the usual, you're in that business, you're a professional. But, we do a lot of that through, podcasts, modern media type stuff, ads across LinkedIn, not so much Facebook, but LinkedIn ads and some other email type campaigns. It's become a lot easier to do email automation to where it was. So I would say the oldest one had to do around the paperless revolution, which is still been around. And the latest is really around our AI practice, because people, they don't know what to do. They're so confused as to where to start, how to do it, what are the security issues around it. So I would say those two. So.
Good. How do you approach storytelling in your brand communications?
Yeah, so I would say that storytelling is very, very true to my heart. I believe storytelling has been kind of a dying art, and that's before technology and all those good things. People sat around the campfire, or you learned about your crazy uncle or your granddad. So storytelling to me has always been a part of our fabric. I think the story now, when you've been around going on 27 years, like a lot of people in the tech space, they're looking for the newest shiny object. So sometimes the stories of how you got there, it resonates with people. Sometimes it doesn't. But storytelling as to how we evolved, the reason that we're around today was really because a lot of our integration capabilities around our SaaS product many years ago. We had to connect to banking core platforms and online like bill pay platforms and all these platforms. And what's ironic behind that is that actually shaped us to what we are today. Even though we were having to do that around our product, we became very proficient at that. So when we get in, opportunities to talk to someone about helping them across, their disparate platforms, whether it's digital transformation or connecting their ERP or their CRM, we really have a very true story about why and how we gained that knowledge, right? And so I think that kind of story helps us in a lot of our credibility when people were talking about systems that didn't have APIs. Today, application interfaces, today that's pretty common. But when you had to hard code that stuff years ago, you really had to know your stuff. So
awesome. So what piece of advice would you give to a company struggling to differentiate themselves in a crowded market?
Great question. I always often reflect back when I started many years ago, and we had very few competitors. I could name, 3 or 4 competitors. I knew their business, I knew their companies, I knew the way that their sales team positioned it. And today, there's thousands of competitors in what we do and probably what you do. I think there's been a trend that's always worked for us. We don't really try to chase trends, but a trend of coming back to authenticity. And you can't fake authenticity. You can't fake being authentic. And I think, just as you talked about the storytelling, being able to connect with people and genuinely take interest in whether it's your customer or your business partners or vendors that you use. I think taking a true interest in them and genuinely trying to, build some type of a relationship is the differentiator. I think in some ways, Ricardo, it's always been the differentiator, being able to build relationships with people and being able to build trust. But I would say that, bigger companies, a lot easier for Coca-Cola or Microsoft or your market leaders, but people that are not market leaders, I think that authenticity and the way you approach them and being truthful about things builds that trust. And there's no easy solution. It's very tough because they may have 20 vendors or providers that they're talking to that say they're doing the same thing you do, and in many cases the only differentiator is the person sitting across from the customer or the partner, and your trust is really what determines whether I think you get business a lot of days. That makes sense.
You're correct. You're 100% correct. All right, so let's go back and you're today a wise man. I mean, not everybody had a company who has been around for more than 27 years, right? So you have adapted and so forth. But let's imagine that you are able to go with the wisdom that you have today and go and talk to yourself when you started your first job. And you're able to whisper to yourself something. What would you whisper to yourself?
Oh wow, I think of these things a lot. I would tell myself to continue, like some of the things. I always saw things that were 5 years out and they weren't ready. And if you've ever built a business or you've started a product or you've done anything, the world thinks that you're going to be an immediate success. They don't understand that building a business takes time. Most businesses don't make it the first 3 years. I forget the statistics, 70% of them aren't around 5 years later. It's kind of it's a situation where you're like, why would I do this? But I think the main thing is I would have told myself there were certain things we missed in business because I stopped, right? It wasn't ready. The time wasn't ready. And if we would have just pushed through, so I would have told myself, if you truly believe it, continue to do it, continue to do it, continue to put effort into it, continue to, there's naysayers, there's people they're going to tell you it's not going to work. And so I would tell myself to keep going on a simple term and until it has time to play out, until you have that opportunity to make that vision work. And most businesses they allow it right before the timing. The pizza wasn't quite cooked or the lasagna wasn't quite cooked. It's just got to stay in another 30 minutes. So I would have told myself to just keep going, no matter how painful I thought it was, no matter if people didn't see it. Because many times as an entrepreneur like yourself, we see things way out.
Yeah.
And I tell everyone now, if you come to me and you're an entrepreneur, you're a young person or you're starting your own business, I'm like, if you're not willing to give it 5 years, don't do it. And they think I'm insane. Like, they're like, what? Like 5 years? I'm like, it takes time to build awareness. It takes time to find the market fit. It takes time to get your messaging. And if you're not willing to give it 5 years, maybe you get lucky. Maybe you're an overnight success, but I rarely ever see people that are overnight success, so
Yeah.
that's probably what I tell myself.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. If you were to give some words of wisdom to marketing professionals, founders, or sales professionals, besides giving 5 years, what will those words of wisdom will be?
I would say the lesson it took me a long time is I've always been one of these people. I'll just do it myself, right? I can do it quicker. And so it's hard to get out of that mode for people. It is true to find somebody. If you're a young entrepreneur, you're a marketer, know what you're really good at. Right? Know what you're really good at. And then people use the word delegate. I don't know if it's delegate. I like partner, partner with someone in your company, partner with an external partner that does a better job than you do, or maybe 3 or 4 different partners, and work together as a team to get more accomplished. And because today, if you're a marketer, I mean, there's so many things going on in marketing around video and AI, around chat GPT types, or building proposals, or creating email content or video content. That's not, just because you know the tools is not your value, right? Your value is what you see in the strategy or the positioning. And if you're sitting there trying to learn 15 different new AI tools or things, that you don't do it. Like, you need to just stay with what you really are good at or what you really know. Either partner with someone that can complement you. It'll take you way farther in life than you trying to learn everything that comes out. Our brains can't keep up with it. So truly know what you're good at. Truly, I'm a relationship person, 100%. That's what I am. That's what I'm good at. I know all this tech stuff. I understand all this tech stuff. I'm not a coder, but if I were trying to depend on that myself doing that, I would have failed. I wouldn't have made it. So surround yourself with people that complement you, and be in it for all of you. Let everybody celebrate the wins. Let everybody get credit. And I think you'll go very far in life.
Awesome. Brad, thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it. Thank you for being part of IMS, and look forward to getting to know you better.
Yes, thank you, Ricardo. You're doing a great job. We appreciate it. So check out Insight Marketing Success. It's great. So I appreciate you guys.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening to Insight Marketing Success, where marketing knowledge meets real-world experience from vision to execution.